Welcome to the Azimut stand at the 2023 Düsseldorf Boat Show, where behind me here is their big launch of the show, the all-new S7 sports bridge. So take a look at this. It is a brand new Alberto Mancini design, really beautiful looking boat, long and lean with just a small flybridge up top, giving you some outside space as well. And now one of the other big wins of this boat is that they're claiming exceptional efficiency. They reckon that this is 30% more efficient than their previous Azimut 70 flybridge, which actually, although that sounds like it's a bigger boat, it's almost identical in terms of gross tonnage volume. They're both around about 70 gross tons. So the thing that enables that to be quite so efficient is partly building it with a very high content of carbon fiber that keeps the whole thing light. It's also the hull design, and it's also the engines, because I'm just going to have a little sneak underneath here where you can see that it is powered by 3 IPS drives. So you see those 3 separate pods in there. Now that means they obviously use smaller engines than you would a pair of big doubles, and also because they are pod drives, they create much less drag under the boat than full shaft drives. So those 3 slippery steerable pods, plus the design of the hull, plus the weight, means it is 30% more efficient than a conventional boat of this size and style. So let's go and have a look on board and see what else we can show you. There is a lot going on. It's got a really fascinating interior design too. So let's have a look at this brand new Alberto Mancini designed Azimut S7. Now under here is a huge cockpit garage. I don't think we can show you what's inside there, but there is room for a Williams 345 jet rib and a full-size jet ski. And by the looks of things, a Seabob stows in there somewhere too. So really massive amount of storage space and obviously a big hydraulic platform. Now we've got steps up on both sides of this sunpad area here. You can see there's a letterbox passerelle in there. All of these are just we've got water inlets and outlets, so lots of little access to all of those. Gates on both sides, you can see stainless steel gates that swing across. Lots of good mooring gear. Obviously you've got the winches, not the largest I've ever seen for a boat of 70 feet, but should be certainly strong enough to pull you back to the quay in the Mediterranean. And then this big dual kind of sofa sunbathing area at the back of the cockpit, and it's a really long cockpit. Look at the size of this. Normally you'd expect that to finish sort of somewhere around about here, but it goes a long way back, and it makes sense actually. It's effectively the sports cruiser model, so you want as much outside space as possible. So there's a dining area here, big sunpad here. You can see it's got backrests on here that flip up. Really nice if you want to lie there and read a book, for example. It's very nice to have that. There is a further sunshade in there. You can just see peeking out, that's an electric sunshade that will extend a long way aft if you want a little bit more shade. But to be honest, sun pads are there for catching some sun rays, so not going to use that most of the time. But it does mean you can extend a bit more coverage when you're dining outside. You can see this table here extends out. We've got it in the small mode here, but that top folds over to create an extra long dining table there. And just really interesting to see the kind of choices that Azimut are going for. You know, they're moving away from sort of traditional teak tables, and this is a really lovely lacquered. It's not carbon fiber, it's some kind of silver fiber in there, but really attractive. Just gives a slightly more modern edge to the whole design. Love the fact that these glass buttresses extend all the way along here, providing shelter, particularly when you're whizzing along at speed. You often get a little bit of spray wrapping around the back there, so that gives a really nice sheltered dining position out here in the cockpit. We've got a wet bar over on this side. You can see there's a big sink in there. And then fridge, ice maker, that's an ice maker under there. So exactly where it should be. Nice little bar area here. We've got the optional, I don't think it's fitted in there, but you can see that that's where the optional stern helm station goes. And these lovely, well-protected side decks. You can see how tall these bulwarks are, but also the fact that they're cut away, so it doesn't interrupt the view when you're sitting in the saloon. We'll go and have a look inside in a minute, but just have a feel for these side decks. You can see there is a small step up, but really nice and wide. They're about hip height. And actually, again, slightly unusual not to have railings here. We've just gone for this full height GRP bulwark. Nice little details like this teak step in there, and that's because this lifts up and out. I'm not sure if there's a release in there, but you can see that that swings up and out. I won't do it one-handed, but it just means if you are stepping off the side, you can step through that gate there. Big cleat, couple of steps up to the foredeck area, and a really good foredeck space up here. Look at this. Got the temporary sort of bimini erected up here. You don't want to drive along with that, but when you're at anchor, that makes a lovely, just provides a little bit of sunshade, but a big seating area up here on the bow. Again, beautiful silver fabrics with that same lacquered surface on the table. Lovely little cup holders, and again, somewhere just to put your phone or sunglasses. And that awning extends all the way over here because there's another sunpad area here, so you can lie down right at the bow. Usual anchor equipment up here. It's not actually tucked away, it is exposed, but you can see that there are covers there to actually, I can't actually fill it up, but there you go. Okay, so we can lift that up. You can see the anchor locker down there. It's a twin anchor locker, so you can access it from both sides, but that's very typical that you can tuck that all away so you don't stub your toe. You've got controls for the anchor there, so you can operate those with your toe. Really nice walk around decks again. Let's move back up this one, just to give you an idea. Now, unusually, quite often on this size, sort of 70-foot sports cruiser, you have a big sunroof in here. They haven't gone for that, but they have got a really tall windscreen, so that should provide good protection up top. And instead, they've got a great big spotlight there. But let's carry on down here. Again, step back down. And this is another interesting feature. You see how far this is part of the flybridge moulding, and it just comes out over the side deck, gives a bit of protection. And also, rather cleverly, there's an LED strip light in there, so that just casts a lovely pool of light down onto the side deck at night. So let's whiz up to the flybridge first and have a quick look up there. You can see curving steps that come up here, up to the flybridge. Again, admiring that LED lighting under the sofas. Now, interestingly, compared to the Princess S72 that we've just been on, this doesn't feel quite as big. It's not quite as long, but you do still get a really good big seating area at the back here. Again, that same silvery effect table, and you can see that lifts up and over and expands the size of that, so you can sit all the way around the full length of that table. Wet bar on the starboard side, all painted silver to match. So you've got a Kenyan grill and a sink under there, and fridge. And you could probably get an ice maker in there too if you wanted to. Now again, they've gone for a big folding bimini on this. You can see that that all comes forward and tucks away in front of the helm there when you don't want to have it. Really cool little seating area here, and you can see that that backrest swings over so that you can have a full length chaise longue sun pad in that forward area too. And that's really nice having that tucked under the screen, so you actually get a little bit of shelter from the breeze too, so you could probably perfectly happily lie there underway even when you're cruising along. Two good helm seats here. Very nicely supportive. You can see little hip extensions there just to keep you locked in place. Quite nice and simple design, not too much going on here. We've got the lovely white Azimut wheel, two Garmin screens. I'm sure you could get bigger screens there if you want to. It certainly looks like there's space there. And just the basic controls that you need. Now we've got the throttles here, we've got the side power thrusters, forward and aft by the looks of things. And because this is an IPS boat, we have got the full IPS joystick control, and it's really lovely little delicate control for that. And we'll have a look at the engines in a minute, but there's something quite special about the engines on this boat too, which we'll show you. A control for the anchor windlass, chain wash, bow lights, horn, all the basics, but nice and simple, not too complicated. And bolsters on the seats, so you can, well, I'm not really sure that you particularly want to stand up here, to be honest, but you can get some support if you want to. One more little extra. That's the bin in there. And you can see that the seats are adjustable, so they will slide back and forth if you want to get a bit closer or further from the wheel. But let's drop downstairs and have a look inside. There's some very special design going on in here. So moving through into the interior, the first thing you notice is that it appears to have no doors at all. When you first glance, there's no sign of any of the doors on board, and that is because they all slide away under this flybridge staircase. Now that's a really neat trick. There's no drop-down window here. It is all a set of doors, but it creates a really big opening through into the saloon. Now they're very, very brave with their interior designs. They're very much, I wouldn't say a Marmite because it's hard to see anybody objecting to this, but it's just much more futuristic, much more designer, if you like, than a lot of the British boats. So really cool. That's very white fabric. I'd have my concerns about whether you're going to get any stains from, goodness knows, from sunbathing lotion or whatever it is if you come in off the sea. Very nice pale floor. These big twin tables, you can see that they are on hydraulic rams, so that can lift and lower, and these sections will fold across to create one big table. Now you can also see the huge size of the windows here. Really, really big windows on both sides, and because of those cutaway bulwarks, you get an uninterrupted view out. There's a lot of styling going on, even in the deck head. Look at this. You can see these kind of slatted effect on the deck head. We've got these strip LED lights that run all the way down, leading your view forward in the boat. And there's so much detail going on in here. I mean, look at this. It's a kind of leather-lined trough. Even elements like this, sort of marble canisters with leather lids. I don't think the bonsai tree is included, but you get the picture. It's a really designer-focused boat. Now we've got a fridge in there, your wine coolers, lots of beautiful detailing. All your crockery is perfectly stored in there. Don't even know which way that one opens. There we go. There's more plates, even serving dishes, all with their own little fiddles so that they fit perfectly in place and are held where they're meant to be. It's a big bar area on the starboard side with all the glasses in. So much detail going on. Now the other thing to notice is that the galley is forward on this boat. A lot of them have a stern galley so that you can serve the cockpit. But cleverly what they've done is they keep all the furniture at half height, so there's nothing up above. Again, not interrupting the views at all, so they've kept it all to waist level. And again, lots of interesting detail here. These kind of recesses for storing bits and pieces. You've got the induction hob there, you've got the oven there. But even things like the fridge, normally you'd have a full height fridge and think, okay, well, is there going to be enough chiller space on this? Check this out. You've got a massive drawer there, massive drawer there, and right opposite over here, there's yet more chiller space there. I think that's the freezer. So cleverly, they have managed to get an awful lot of storage, even though they haven't had to resort to eye-level lockers. Now, opening windows here, exactly where you need them. Electric just drops down like that, helps provide ventilation. Slightly small sink, if I'm honest, if you're trying to wash things up in there. Obviously, there is storage space, and I'm not sure if they've got the, oh, there's the dishwasher, so there is a small dishwasher installed in there. But very much part of the action. On a boat this size, you're not likely to have crew, you're probably going to be cooking yourself, so very much part of the action. But just look how stylish that whole saloon area is. Helm station. Now, interestingly, this isn't right forward under the windscreen. This is set some way back, so you've got the staircase going down to the lower deck here. So it's almost like a sort of floating pod of a helm station. Now, that does mean that it doesn't take up an awful lot of space, but then it doesn't feel quite as comprehensive as some. But again, very much part of the action. Quite tall chairs. You can see there's a step up, but there are fold-down footrests so that once you're sat at the helm, you do get a decent view. Again, there's a drop-down window up here. Let me just perch up on that helm seat. You can see you've got electric adjustment for everything. You've got height adjustable. You've got forwards and backwards. So really good range of adjustment. And then when you do perch up here on the seat, you can see that windscreen is quite a way forward. And these strip lights get in your eye line a little bit, but it's rather a fine helming position. Wheel is nice and close to you. It's a little bit low. It's kind of knee height. We've got throttles here. We've got the IPS controls. I mentioned this has got triple IPS pod drives, bow and stern thrusters, opening windows so that you can communicate with your crew or get some fresh air. Now, the other thing to notice on a boat like this, though, is a lot of the time you'd have a sunroof here, an opening sunroof. Because the flybridge doesn't start till a little way back, there's usually room for a sunroof or at least a skylight, but they haven't on this occasion. They've gone to keep their styling as clean and neat as possible, so they've done without that. So before we drop down into the lower deck accommodation, I just wanted to show you the electric panel in here. So that's access to all the switches for everything you need right next to the helm. And then this lovely curving staircase down into the accommodation. Even here you can see there's a little bit of storage behind that. And these very delicate little stainless steel handholds as you go down. And then in the corridor here you can see we've got washer dryers, little folding doors to give access to them. So let's start by going forward. There's only the one staircase, so it's both the guest accommodation and the owner's cabin. And let's go into the forward VIP. And there you can see those whole windows either side. Decent sized bed, island bed facing aft. Lots of big mirrors, bouncing light around, even here. And this lovely light coloured wood with just enough detailing in it, giving a bit of standout to the actual design and shapes. Got a lit wardrobe, nice little shelving unit. And again, lots of little details like this. I don't think that's actually a standard part of the boat, but you can see that the interior is all done by this design house, Yachting, and they can obviously supply everything you want to actually match the interior of the boat. Again, there's a hanging wardrobe over here, and an ensuite bathroom. Just close that door, have a peek inside the ensuite bathroom. Very stylish, kind of matte black surfaces. And then the shower is behind the door here. See, even the plumbing is all matte black. Nice contrast with the white marble. Let's press on. So moving back down through the boat. This is a 4-cabin boat, so we've got 3 guest cabins if you include that VIP. Now this side we've got crisscross bunks, so you see you've got a lower one down here, another one above here. That just creates a bit of space underneath this one for storage, and it's often the problem on small cabins like this. You get very little storage, but that's quite a good way of giving a bit of an extra boost. Now there's no ensuite bathroom on this one. The other 2 cabins both share this bathroom on this side of the boat. This is on the port side. You can see we've got all the usual arrangements, shower, loo, and in fact a second entrance from this 3rd guest cabin here. So again, this is a twin rather than a bunk bed cabin, so you've got 2 decent sized singles either side. Really good headroom in here actually. Look at that, plenty of room above my head. I'm 6'1". Nice windows in the hull. Again, lit storage, hanging locker with shelves. And here is that ensuite access to that shared bathroom. So you can have your own ensuite access, or it doubles as both the bathroom for the 4th guest cabin, or 3rd guest cabin really, if you look at it like that, but also it's the day heads. Now as we drop back down here into the owner's cabin, this is where things get really special. Just noting there's another storage space there, but as you come in here, this is really magical. Check this out. Look at that display case. Glass display case, very nice little ornaments and things, but it just makes it really very special. It's all backlit, and unusually the bed faces across the beam of the boat. So you can see there's a big window behind that. It's a little bit dark, so we're in the boat show and they've kind of put the mood lighting on, but it is really cool to have that facing across the boat So you have another wonderful view out that side. So it's a full beam cabin, but it runs across the beam rather than an island berth in the middle of it. So very stylish seating unit there, again with little leather tables, leather sort of casing there. So stylish. Now in here we have got a walk-in wardrobe with a built-in safe. Again, lots of drawers, lots of mirrors too. So this is a kind of smoked mirror effect. And then access to the ensuite bathroom. And this is much brighter lighting, so lots of little storage in there. More of these contrasting kind of tan leather, big mirrors everywhere, circular sink, and a really big walk-in shower. Slightly different colour marble in here, but the same matte black plumbing. But I think that is really super stylish. And lots of different light controls. You can totally change the mood of the whole place just to adjust it exactly how you want. Very cool cabin. Right, let's head back up. And out into that wonderful cockpit. So let's drop down into the engine bay. You can see the hatches out here in the cockpit by that table. Fairly steep ladder down. And I think we can just drop down there. I'm expecting this to be pretty busy in here with those 3 IPS drives and that cockpit, the garage. But you can see, relatively speaking, for a boat of this size, the engines are not that big. So they're triple IPS 1050s, and they all link up to those pod drives. You can just see the pods right behind the engine, so really nice and compact. There's not a lot of clearance over them because of that tender garage, but then given that you can get a Williams and a jet ski in there, that's not surprising they take up a bit of space. But all 3 of them, nice and compact. You can see the raw water strainers in between them. Here we've got the fuel tank. This is 1900 litre fuel tank with 501 US gallons. That's the port one. And there is a matching starboard one, exactly the same size. So you've got about 1,000 US gallons, or not quite 4,000 litres. We've got fuel strainers on board them, and you can see that you can switch them over. So if you're cleaning one, you can switch it over to run on the other one. There's a freshwater spray down there. And then these are all the Dometic controls for the air conditioning and so on forward here. So those are the triple IPS drives. Let's pop back out. Now that was really interesting to see just how different 2 apparently similar boats compared to the Princess V70, the Princess S72. If you haven't already seen that, please do watch it. But just goes to show how different 2 boats of apparently the same size and style can be. Both equally desirable in their own right, but going to appeal to a very different type of person. So let me know what you think about this boat in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll look forward to seeing you on the next boat tour.